in-house hose testing on an annual basis. We'll do, when they come to the pump test, I gotta have a couple guys go with them to take, shuttle the trucks back and forth. So we'll have a work detail there.
I want to take this opportunity to thank you for your detailed presentation. Now, I can understand why some of the other department heads might not be enamored of this. And this is very useful from the Board of Selectmen's point of view to understand very specifically what's needed across the whole department. So, and to Pat's comment about using kind of a standard template, something like this would be very useful.
I know you can't, it's not apples to apples, that what Rick does is not reflected in what the highway does, and so they would have different categories. But this layout
Well,
is,
And
the comments are the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Because that gives you a detailed
The
explanation.
logic, the explanation, the justification, I think really gives us a feel for, the whole department.
The other thing I want to point out is you see preventive maintenance on the apparatus. That is, the membership is who does the oil changes, the greasing, the checking, the inspection under the hoods and stuff. When we get into brakes, I need to send that out. I need a certified air brake mechanic that goes with that.
Boston's just figured that out.
There's a lot of other things that the board needs to know in the budget advisory to be thankful of is Rindge, because he's replaced the fuel tank in the rescue this year. He pulled the radiator out of engine 2. This is all costs that we're doing in-house, that we need to send those trucks out. And big bucks in labor costs. I don't know what it is for a diesel mechanic. I bet it's close to $100 an hour.
It's too bad the mechanics don't get paid that.
Thank you, Deb.
Or,
Changing the oil.
Thank you, Rick.
See that? You just tried to throw me under the bus.
I just want to make sure all the bases covered.
We know who's really important. It's the secretary. Deb wants to actually run
Do
things.
you folks have any more questions of the chief before we head to the next budget? Actually, the next budget, emergency
Also the
management,
chief.
is handled by Rick as well. And in that budget, we're looking at another significant increase percentage-wise, but not as much dollar-wise. I will point out that a couple years ago, our hazard mitigation committee had recommended that monies be set aside for hazard mitigation, and the first year we put $5,000 in, and that money proved to be very helpful in purchasing a trailer and stocking it with cones and that sort of thing. And because we've been in the default budget for the past 2 years, we've had to take that money and use it in other areas. What Rick is proposing here in the emergency management budget is adding he proposed $8,700 for fixed asset and new equipment. And basically, there is a detail on that one as well. You can make copies of this for you, but lettering for traffic control trailer, medical supplies, sump pumps, generators, sandbags, CB radio and antenna, ham radio and antenna, blanket for shelter, and volunteer ID tags printer. And you'll see, I don't know if we can restore, $8,700 all in 1 year. I've proposed a compromise, but perhaps the chief might offer some insights on these needs.
We need to be prepared. No, really, I don't have that detailed sheet with me, although I can.
Oh, okay.
She's making copies.
Julie just took it to make copies.
One of the things that we do run into is like the tags. The fire department uses ID tags. The police department, they have ID tags, but Franklin Pierce takes care of them. Franklin Pierce won't do ours because we have too many members to do it. The other side of it is, we're open shelters and stuff. We need a way to print off something for people that we know who they are in our shelters and what's going on. We want to prevent the same thing that would happen over in Jaffrey. A lot of people don't realize this and probably don't know this, but in Jaffrey, in the shelter, there was a sex offender that was intermixed in with the general population over there. It caused a big problem. So we should be proactive here and making sure we're IDing the people that are actually working our scenes, our shelters. It's not only for it is for emergency management. It's not only going to be used for just volunteers. It will be used for town employees, the rec department, for your volunteers that are working with the kids and things like that. These people need to be identified, and they should be wearing tags on them. You go everywhere, people are wearing tags.
You can also use it for the people who are actually checked in at a shelter.
Absolutely.
People being cared for.
Absolutely. You put
That would
medical
be where-
information on them, that who needs to be checked every now and then.
Right.
Who needs, who don't need needs. So Jason's absolutely right.
That would have prevented the incident in Jaffrey,
Yes.
because he was among the people who was being provided shelter.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, yes,
if
he
you
was.
can check people in and you've got the information, then you're checking people as they come in and keeping track of them.
The biggest increase on that line is that ID card. So
It's a
$2,800.
one-time expense, right?
What's
Like, if that's a one-time expense.
One-time
then-
expense,
all right.
we own it, the town has their own, I can stop begging Monadnock Hospital and Franklin Pierce just won't do it at all. They said no. The problem that I would have is anyways with somebody like fire department using Franklin Pierce this time and Monadnock next, we don't have any uniformity in our tags. So they're all over the map. Police station's gonna have one set, fire's gonna have another, people, town office will have another, your volunteers are gonna have another, depending on where you get it. But right now, we don't have any. The only thing we got is handwritten paper to stick on something, hey, my name is Joe, you know.
Be able to plasticize these?
Hmm?
We'd be able to plasticize them?
Why don't we have to-
Yeah, that machine, it makes them right up. What we do is you use a stock card, and it prints on the stock